Hey everyone, it's Friday, December 27th. Let's talk PlayStation. Right, so as you can tell by the title of this video, this is not going to be a news episode of Let's Talk PlayStation, because quite frankly, everyone's on break. The game industry's on break. Developers and publishers, everybody's, they're with their families, and we're going into 2014. So, for such a timely episode, this is the last Let's Talk PlayStation of 2013. So, naturally, we're going to talk about the best games of 2013 and my personal top 10 list of 2013 games, man. And the thing about 2013 is it was a great year. It really was. Like, there was a lot of fantastic games that came out. We had next generation consoles come out this year. Like, I think 2013 kicked ass. It really did kick ass. In fact, when I started to think about what I was going to do for this week, and then I decided, okay, I'll do, a coverage of 2013 games, I started to, write down, like, some of the games I played, and sort of worked out my top 10 a little bit, and then I really started to reflect on it, and it really made me think about, like, how great 2013 was, but also how many games I missed. There are so many things I didn't get to play this year, and a lot of things went into that. First of all, I mean, I got a job. I need a job to pay the bills. YouTube, obviously, YouTube's not my main job, so I got a job. I work 5 days a week. I work a lot of hours, and then this YouTube channel. I love doing this YouTube channel, but because it's PlayStation only, it requires me to do a lot of PlayStation only videos, which I love. I love covering the PlayStation platform, but there were like a lot of other games that I didn't get to this year. Like, I wanted to play Gone Home. I heard great things about that for PC. Zelda on the 3DS. My God, I want to get to that. And if you guys didn't know this, I don't own a Wii U because I've been waiting for a lot of the good Nintendo first party to come out, and now it's out. Now I want to get a Wii U, and I want to play Super Mario Brothers, 3D World. I want to get to all this stuff, right? But I didn't get to these games just yet. But it's always a good problem when you have too many games to play, right? Because then you've got games that, you don't buy them right off the bat, so they get cheaper down the line. Then maybe when you do find time to play these games, you go and play them. And I'll tell you what, 2014, at least for my New Year's resolution, I'm going to try and get to some of these games. I just want to play more games in general, right? Because, what's wrong with that? But let's get into the actual video, the best games of 2013. As I've said before, this YouTube channel, I do play a lot of PlayStation games, and it'll predominantly be a PlayStation list, with one exception, which we'll get to near the top of my list. But let's get right into it. Now, there's more than 10 games I loved this year. I mean, I called this my top 10 2013 games, but some honorable mentions, right? Because, like I said, there was just way too many good games. Some of the games that I played this year that I thoroughly enjoyed, but I didn't think really cracked my top 10 list. Some of them off the bat, I'm doing this right off the top of my head, by the way. God of War Ascension, great game, fantastic. Was probably one of the weaker God of War games in the whole series in my eyes, so it just didn't quite crack the list. But it's still God of War. I still loved it. I still had a great time. Guacamelee on PSN was fucking awesome. I loved that game. You guys have to go play that. I really had to backtrack to see which games actually released in 2013, because, you kind of think, like, was that January or December? Tomb Raider was really awesome. The new Tomb Raider, great. I'm looking forward to the next one, because Square Enix is obviously, they already greenlit another one. Puppeteer, if you don't know Puppeteer, that was actually Sony Studio Japan did that game. Released at $40. A lot of people didn't really know about that game. Some people didn't buy it. It was a damn shame, because that game was actually gorgeous and beautiful, really creative, something really original, which is, going back to, like, what, Sony always likes to fund these original ideas and games that might not sell that well, and quite frankly, Puppeteer did, go under the radar, and it's not selling well. And I think it goes into, like, a little bit of how Sony sucks at marketing. Like, if you're gonna fund these original ideas, put them out there, great, but, like, sell them. That's a whole different discussion. You guys know that. That's really it for some of my honorable mentions. I feel like I really wanted to play more games this year. I really did. Really bummed me out. I need to find more time, man. But number 10, going to my top 10 2013 games, Soul Sacrifice for the PlayStation Vita. Why is this number 10? Why did I pick this for my top 10? Well, Soul Sacrifice, I've never really been into those kind of games before, like the Monster Hunter-esque games, things like that. Like, I was never really hugely into that genre, and one of the, if I didn't do this YouTube channel at the time Soul Sacrifice came out, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. But it was like a big, major PlayStation Vita release, so I was like, okay, I should buy this, cover it, review it. And thoroughly enjoyed it, put so many hours into it, and it's just one of those games where, at least for me, going into it, I just didn't really, it was like one of those games where I probably wouldn't have bought it had I not done YouTube, but now I'm so glad I did play it, right? Because it was really fun. Number 9 for this list, I mean, it probably should be higher, but, like, I'm just now finishing the game, so I don't want it to, like, sort of cloud my judgment because of how much I'm enjoying it right now. But I finally just recently started playing Tearaway. I actually bought Tearaway the day of release, but I just now, a couple days ago, started playing because I've just been really busy and stuff. I haven't even gotten to, like, my Xbox One games and everything. Like, I'm that far behind on shit. But I finally started to play Tearaway. I pretty much finished it. Wow, loved that game. And it goes back to Puppeteer, right? A really original idea. Media Molecule is great. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why Sony bought Media Molecule, because they just bring original ideas to the table, right? And it's one of those games where Tearaway requires all the, things that we might not like about the Vita, but turns it into something that is really creative. And what I'm referring to is the back touchpad, the actual front touch, the camera, the microphone, things that's like, you find goofy when they're tacked onto Uncharted Golden Abyss or Killzone Mercenary, but this game was completely built around that idea, but it totally worked for me, and it does one of those things where it uses the camera and it uses all that goofy stuff, but it actually makes you smile a little bit, like, wow, I can't believe they did that, It was just a really genuinely good, like, new creative game, right? Like, I like that. I like going into things that I've never tried before, and Tearaway is certainly one of those games. Going into number 8 and 7 at the same time, I'll knock these both out right here, because I'm sure I could talk for an hour about my favorite games of 2013, so I want to keep it a little short. But Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus and Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Some people may be surprised that these cracked my top 10, but I don't know about you, man, but I missed these games. Like, like, these games defined my childhood, right? Platformers, man. We just didn't get that in the PS3 360 Wii era. Maybe mostly PS3 360, because, those consoles had FPSs left and right. But, I love Sly Cooper on the PS2. I love Ratchet & Clank on the PS2. Those are games that defined my preference for the PlayStation platform, I grew up with those characters, and I was so happy that I finally got to play more of them, specifically this year. Sly Cooper, reason being why I tired of Ratchet & Clank, Into the Nexus was great. I loved Into the Nexus. If I'm going to, like, certainly place them in a list, like, Sly Cooper would be ahead because we hadn't seen it since PS2, right? Like, I've been craving a new Sly Cooper. And the thing about Thieves in Time was, okay, Sucker Punch isn't making it. Where are we going to go here? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be great? I'm genuinely surprised. Like, a lot of people didn't like Thieves in Time. Like, they didn't think, like, it was true to, like, Sly. I thought it was complete. Like, Sans Hour Games did fantastic with Thieves in Time. Because I, of course, was worried, right? I'm like, are they going to, make an authentic Sly Cooper game? I think they absolutely did, right? It felt right at home. The writing was spot on. You still had the original voice actors in the game. You still had the same sort of scenario where you go into a full-on area, and then there's a new, like, mob boss walking around. You gotta study him, find out all of his hideouts, and then you go to the big boss battle. Like, it was exactly what I wanted, right? And, you're on PS3 hardware, so it's a cartoony-looking game, so how do you make it look next-gen, but not too next-gen to the point where it looks so odd? But I think they've kind of balanced that just right when it came to, like, animation and graphics. I just loved everything about it. And in the Nexus, I just loved more Ratchet & Clank, man. I never have a problem with that. It was it's great that we had another one that was just regular third person, walking around, shooting stuff, Ratchet & Clank. Number 6 for my list, which is a really, like, hot button issue, like a lot of criticism with this game, a lot of people freaked out and stuff, and goes into a whole thing. If I could say anything to preface this, like, it's my personal list. You guys know that it's opinions. Games are subjective. I think games are one of the most subjective mediums out there. So I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Beyond Two Souls is my number 6 for top 10 games of 2013. Goes back into, again, original stuff, right? Like, I liked that I was playing. I liked Heavy Rain, right? And you see where I'm getting with this, right? There's not games like that, because I know some people give Quantic Dream and, like, David Cage, like, a lot of shit for these games, like, oh, they're just movies, and it's just a lot of quick time events. I enjoy them, right? I thought it was great. You have choices. It reflects, it has, you have consequences for your choices, and it was just another one of those games. Beyond Two Souls had a lot of issues, right? Like, I didn't give it a fantastic review. I think I gave it like a 7 or something. The game had issues, but I still enjoyed it the whole way through, right? I still appreciated what the studio was doing, what the message they were trying to get across, which is tell a story. Tell a story, pull emotions out of the gamer, and have you be in that position, right? Have your feet in that position. Because when you're watching a movie, I don't have any influence there, you know? I'm just watching a movie, and what happens, happens. And I like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls when you directly make those choices, and it absolutely does feel like a video game, to me at least. I just like stuff that really tries to be different, you know? I really like out there ideas. I like when a developer steps up and says, like, we're going to try and do something different. And whether that's good or bad, I still appreciate what they try to do. And it's not that I just appreciated Beyond Two Souls. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It had some emotional moments. There's a couple scenes in that game where I just, like, it's one of those situations where I pause the game and I'm like, wow, man, like, I know I'm saying all these things and I'm not, like, you know, I can't spoil anything, but I just really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Man, I did a great time explaining that one, right? I just didn't want to spoil anything. Number 5 for my top 10 games of 2013, BioShock Infinite. This is another one of those games where it comes out, gets great reviews, people are totally pumped to buy it, people buy it, some people absolutely enjoy it, I'm one of those people, and then, you know, because the game was so critically panned and, you know, everyone bought it, and then there's some, like, the people that didn't enjoy the game, they get more vocal about it, about how they didn't like it. I still stand by my opinion. I loved BioShock Infinite. The original BioShock is still probably one of my top 3 favorite games of this whole past console generation of PS3, 360, Wii. It's in the top 3 for me. I loved BioShock. So I was pumped for Infinite, right? And going into it, like, it's a new city, it's a new area. Like, I like the character development between Elizabeth and Booker. I liked the Vigors, but I still kind of prefer BioShock, the plasmids from BioShock. There's things I don't like about Infinite, but I enjoyed it, you know. I think that's what it all comes down to for each one of these games, right? Is I enjoyed them, but I really liked Infinite, man. I felt like Columbia was alive. Just like I felt like Rapture was alive, which is why it breaks my top 10 list here. And the ending for Infinite, like, I don't think I've ever been that shocked from a video game ending ever. Out of all the times out of my whole life of playing video games, there's been a lot of endings, like, but man, that was a big one, right? That was a big one that it took me, like, how many days to, you ever, like, play a game, you finish it, and then a week later you're still kind of, like, thinking about it, like, I can't believe that happened, like, I can't believe this happened, and blah, blah, and you just think to yourself, like, man, that was so cool, right? I loved the ending for Infinite, so. Number 4 for my top 10 games of 2013 is the only PlayStation 4 game that made my list, which is Resogun. Holy ballsack, shit fuck on a stick, dude. Oh, Resogun, man. First PS4 game I played, and it's the number 1 PS4 game I've clocked the most hours into. Can't stop playing Resogun. I loved Super Stardust HD on the PS3, right? That was the same sort of situation. I loved that game. It was the best PSN title in my opinion. I've clocked so many hours into it, and my high score in Super Stardust HD was a 2.5-hour arcade run where I just never ran out of my lives, right? And I just kept going and going and going. And when I said it, I was I was in the top 100 for the leaderboard. If you go to it now, I think I'm like down to like 300 or something, which sucks. But loved Super Stardust HD. So I was so fucking excited when I found out the developer Housemarque was making a spiritual successor to that game on PS4. You know, PS4 hardware. So I was so pumped, and I went into Resogun. And the whole sort of idea of Resogun being on, like, the cylinder, I was like, you know, I was like iffy on it, but I'm like, okay, well, I gotta wait until I play it, and they captured me. I got addicted to another one of their twin stick shooters. Okay, so now we're at the part of the list where I'm seriously like, I'm gonna screw you guys. I have no 3, I have no 2, I have no 1. I can't choose between these 3 games. I physically can't do it. I don't want to put 1 at number 1. I don't want to put 1 at 2. I don't want to put 1 at 3. I'm not going to choose between these 3. I simply can't. So I'm just going to talk about all 3 of them right now. Kind of goes into the reason why I kind of like, I don't like lists. I thoroughly enjoy lists. Like, I can read an IGN list and be like, cool, that's their opinion. Because some people get so pissed off at lists. Because, oh my god, how dare you not use my opinions. But, I can't, I'm fine with lists, but I can't list these 3 games. So, the 3 games are, The Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Pokemon X and Y. if you know me and you've been watching this YouTube channel for a while, there's one thing you know about me, which is my top 3 favorite franchises, which I do have sort of picked out, and I've had these picked out for a while. I don't know why I even sort of list them, but I just personally, my number 1 franchise, my favorite video game franchise to date is Jak and Daxter. Number 2 is the Pokemon franchise, all the RPGs. And then number 3 is Grand Theft Auto. I've been a huge Grand Theft Auto fan forever. So, of course, Grand Theft Auto and Pokemon definitely cracked this top 3. And then, of course, The Last of Us cracked my top 3 because I think The Last of Us kind of speaks for itself. There's a reason why it's so popular, and there's a reason why it got so many great reviews. There's a reason why people love it and get pissed off when it doesn't win Game of the Year awards, because they loved the game, and, you know, rightfully so. So let's just go through each 3 of them. Grand Theft Auto 5. How about this? Here's the thing about Grand Theft Auto 5 and The Last of Us. And I knew this was going to happen. Like, I called it. I knew that, like, these games got fantastic reviews. They sold very well. And you know what I said to myself, like, once they were, like, out for a week and they were just doing so incredible? I said to myself, watch. In 3 to 4 months, you know, these games are going to have their limelight for the next month or so. But in 3 to 4 months, you're going to see on YouTube videos, on forums, on threads, or on IGN articles, anywhere, you're going to see people start being vocal about how they didn't like these games, right? About how, I don't know why GTA 5, because blah, 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 I didn't enjoy it at all. Or I don't know, The Last of Us just cutscenes and blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't like The Last of Us gameplay. Cool. It's great that people have opinions, but I just knew that was going to happen, right? Because that's sort of what happens. A game gets so much praise, and of course, you know, the people that are praising the game are going to be so happy about it the first couple of months in, but then the people that finally catch up and get to it and they just don't enjoy it for, you know, legit reasons, but they're more vocal about it, right? This went into, like, the whole PS4 and if PS4 breaks scenario. The people that have problems or complaints are going to be more vocal about it, which is fine, but that's how you sort of get that situation where people might not. It looks like people didn't enjoy the game. With that said, with my little rant over, I guess, I stand by Grand Theft Auto 5 and The Last of Us. I'm one of those people who still loved the hell out of those games. Grand Theft Auto 5 was gigantic. It was packed with so much detail. I can't believe that studio, you know, Rockstar just kind of like said, oh, we're going to do this too. We're going to do this too. Even though the developer probably knew people aren't going to notice that shit, but they put it in there just so that some people can spot it, you know, to get that sort of authenticity to it, right? And the thing about Grand Theft Auto games is it is a, you know, violent game. It shows underlying themes of, like, the crime world and certain stereotypes of people. And I really like that, man. They're brutal and vocal about it, you know? Nothing's off limits for Rockstar, and that's what I love about the Grand Theft Auto series. And of course, it's just Grand Theft Auto, man. Just have fun, drive around, kill people and shit. Like, it's just one of those scenarios. I still play through the story and all that, and it's just a big game with lots of detail, and it's authentic, and this, you know, it's got great writing, it's got great character development. Love it. With The Last of Us, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think that game did something not many games do, which is really, really, really pull at your emotions and intertwine it with gameplay, because I don't think it was just cutscenes, you know? The cutscenes were powerful in that game for sure, but you've got scenarios where you're walking with Ellie and you reflect on these moments and you're moving, you're using Joel, you're shooting people, you're shooting infected, but you're still talking to Ellie and she's helping you out in these scenarios. Or you walk up to an arcade machine, she talks about how, ooh, what's this or something, or is it fixed? I don't even remember that dialogue scenario, but it's one of those things, right? You go up to Ellie and you just talk, and there's this, that world felt so alive, right? I don't even think I have to talk much about why The Last of Us was great, because if, you know, you probably have your own opinion of the game by now, and you know why it probably made my list. On the topic of Pokemon, not to spend too much time on a non-PlayStation game, because I know my subscribers subscribe for PlayStation stuff, but you guys see that Cyndaquil back there? I'm a huge Pokemon fan, dude. Huge. I love that world. I've clocked thousands of hours into each and every one. And X and Y is now on 3DS hardware. You've got fully redesigned Pokemon that are completely 3D now on the hardware. Man, I jumped into it, man. I'm still playing it. I'm still playing it. And I can't stop. I'm now Pokemon Bank's out, so I'm importing all 600 plus of my Pokemon from Diamond and or from Black and White, man. Like, it's just, I pour so many hours in those games, the stats and building the right team and just building a. Yeah, man, those are my top 3. I really can't give them. I really can't place them. I enjoyed all of them so much. 2013 was a fantastic year. Now, I really sincerely want to know what your favorite games were this year, because I know I'm probably I'm forgetting something, right? Because a lot of games came out. So I really want to know what you played, because maybe I'll add it to my list for what I need to play in the next 6 months. You know, because PS4, we're still waiting on PS4 games. They're not going to just start coming out of nowhere, right? Gotta wait till March and all that. Give me some ideas of what I didn't get to this year. And so that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Benecki. Thank you so much for talking with me. I'll see you next Friday.